It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Banning, and I will be your host for this magical, robust lifestyle show. I would first like to thank each one of our listeners that have tuned in live today and the ones that will be listening to the recording on the podcast. I am just so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And you are all in for an incredible show today, as I have with me a brand new diva, Rosanna Patella. And her and I are going to chat about the power of personal magic, the story of Madrika. Oh my, is this going to be one incredible show? And with that, Rosanna, would you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Yes, hi everyone. I am a proud diva that cares. My background is quite renaissance in its nature. I am a problem solver on many different levels. I have a very long and illustrious career in IT project management, but I've been writing my whole life. And I'm also a fitness coach. But today we're going to be talking about the story of Madrika, which is a story of, as you said, personal magic and hope. And I really want to share it with the listeners.
Oh, I love that. You are doing so much to give back to the world. You're a perfect diva. You're working to make the world a better place and talking about the personal magic. I love it. Well, Rosanna, I am just going to let you kind of start where you feel you would like to with our topic on the power of personal magic and the story of Madrika. What the universe would like for our listeners to hear today, I'm just going to let you start to lead the way.
Great. Thank you so much, Joyce. I appreciate it. So first of all, let me level set and just give 2 minutes of background as to where this all started and what it's about. So maybe 20, 30 years ago, I was pretty much operating as a single mother. My husband at the time was dying of terminal cancer, and my 3 girls were school age, and you could imagine the impact that has on 3 children in a household. So what I chose to do was to drive them back and forth to school every day, which was an hour-long commute each way because they were in 3 different schools. It gave us 2 hours of time together. And what I hoped to do during those 2 hours every day was to uplift them a bit, give them something else to think about, stabilize them emotionally during this very difficult time. There was about a year of this that went on. So I started to tell them a story over my shoulder, driving. I was making it up as I went, but the story was to give them uplift, to give them a positive view of the future. And the character of Madrika emerged from there. They were under the impression that the story existed. I was actually making it up. But anyway, so it worked. It really worked. Those 2 hours a day helped them, they told me, to get through that, to manage the sadness and the stress of that terrible time. Fast forward 30 years, and my daughter had my first grandson, and she one day asked me for that story. Did you write it down? May I have it? I'd like to give it to my son. And, of course, I didn't write it down, and I was making it up. So I started writing it down. And then, as you said, the universe comes into play. I happened to start a book club, a writer's workshop, local to me for the Canadian Legion. And the workshop required content. We needed authors to read some of their work to get interactive conversations going on. So I used the first chapter of this book that I was really only writing down for my child as a piece. And all of the authors in the group decided to stop everything, including their own work, to work on this story because they really felt that it was important enough to get it out into the world. And so in less than a year, the whole book and all of the work involved in it was done. And it was published December 1st, 2023, so 6 days ago. In any case, Madrika is magical in so many ways. I don't take credit. I feel like the character herself has such a strong message, which I intended only for my daughters, but now in retrospect and through our market testing, everyone who reads about her seems to get something from her and from the story. And her message is that as a strong, young, female, heroic character who did have a very difficult upbringing, she was raised by her grandmother instead of her parents for a variety of reasons, she has real magic. So she has like power. But her most powerful asset is what she calls like her personal magic. It is her ability to recognize the personal magic of others. And when engaging them and pointing out their own magic to themselves, it actually multiplies hers and theirs. Mm-hmm. So it's quite amazing when people realize that just like DNA, each of us really do have, as Madrika says, our own personal magic, which leads us to our journey, and we all have our life's journey, sometimes more than one, and that leads us to one or more of our destinies. And we reach those, we make the journey, and we reach our destiny powered by our own personal magic and those around us that we engage because of their personal magic. So it's kind of amazing since the story started to be worked on in the workshop, and we started to share versions of it with people who had input, and now that it's been published, how many people resonate with the need to know that and then to leverage it. So that's the story of Madrika. The story of Madrika is about this character who utilizes this personal magic, spreads it everywhere, and then goodness arises. That's the message of the story of Madrika.
Oh, wow. That is incredible. And I love how you said she was a young female and she was recognizing the magic of others, and how each one of us has our own personal magic. And I always feel that way. We each have our own magic, our own gifts that we have been given, and just recognizing them and bringing them out to share with others and helping others to find their personal gift and magic. Oh, what a beautiful world it is when you do all that. And now that you have put a book together about it, oh, goodness. Well, like you said, what inspired you to do this was with your girls. And I can only imagine the positive effect made on the girls with telling them the story of Madrika. This is just beautiful. What would you like to share with our listeners, some of the actual personal stories, or how would you like to proceed on to share about the magic?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I wanted to share. And like I said, I don't really take credit for these. They kind of happened. So we are getting feedback from early buyers of the book and people that have read the manuscript and so on, that they're deeply inspired by it. And it was written for children. But the truth is, I've always believed that, adults are just children with credit cards, So we are getting feedback from parents that are reading the book to their child and saying, oh, my God, this resonates so much with me. Like, I needed this personal boost, even though I know this was written for children, but it really has inspired me to figure out my next step in my journey, or think about my destiny, or remind me that I have one. So it's interesting how Madrika is kind of a leader in this thought process, although written as a teenager. She's supposed to be 16 when you start reading the book. So that's just amazing to me, because I have books like that, like The Giving Tree. I read it as a child. I reread it, and it means something different to me each time. And I think Madrika falls into that category. And so it's interesting how different people are reacting to it, even grandparents. So grandparents, many of which are retired or thinking about retirement, depending on their age. Madrika is inspiring them to go, wait a second, is your journey really at an end? Like, are you really ready to just golf or travel, which are all great things, but is that really where you're supposed to be? And they're kind of rethinking it. And so I think that's very powerful for a 16-year-old character. I really do.
Very powerful.
So that's one thing. There's another kind of inspiration going on, and you won't believe it, but I swear it's true. So a great actor, producer, director on the East Coast of the United States, Terry Keyes, he's worked on tons of excellent shows and is a writer himself, has picked up the story and has decided to create it as a musical play. He read the manuscript and he said, this is my project. I want to turn this into a musical play so that the people that might not read the book but might sit in a theater, will get this, and then eventually turn that script into a film, like, very much like the Harry Potter series, where there were many different ways to hear about the story. So that's amazing to me because the book just got published December 1st, and so that's kind of a quick thing. And then the other thing is the illustrator for the book just happened to join why would an illustrator join a book club, a writer's book club? You might question, but she did. And Betty Bruce is an illustrator on Vancouver Island. She picked up art in her 70s and is a magnificent artist. Like you would think she did her whole life. And she created all the images. When you buy the book and you see all the beautiful drawings that are inside, that's Betty Bruce. And she is now designing things. So if a child wanted to have any of those objects that are in the book, there's an infinity coin that you can spend and it comes back to you forever. There's a walking stick that empowers Madrika. She thinks it's actually her own power, but she channels it through her walking stick, which bears the symbols of all her mentors on it. And there's some other objects. And Betty is designing those so that they could be made available, so that we could have them produced and given into the hands of some of the readers. So she's decided that in a coloring book that she's going to do. So what I'm saying is that the book has just come out and it's inspired all these other things that will be tangible in the new year. So that's a kind of interesting idea. And, if I didn't know about the book and I knew all that, I would go, wow, I gotta know more about this story because it's kind of a phenomenon,
Well, that is absolutely incredible because the book only came out 6 days ago. You've already got a musical. That's unbelievable. Already a musical play coming from it. It's magic, is what it is. It's total magic. And there's just no other word for it.
Yeah, I definitely want to tie in. So to me, Divas That Care, from the minute I met Candace Gish, I must tell you, has been magical, right? For me, I think it's magical to bring all of these divas, these brilliant, motivated women, kind, productive women together in a network that just does good every day. Like, that's magical to me. And then one of our early readers said, what's going to happen after people read this book? Children and parents and grandparents are going to reach out to you because they're going to want to connect and chat about the story and what it's done for them and that kind of thing. So we created the inner circle of Madrika. So at the end of the book, you're invited, if you'd like to, join this inner circle. It's like on the idea of the Nancy Drew books and the Babysitter's Club and the, National Geographic Explorers, that kind of thing. And you can join it and you can talk to each other. You can talk to other readers and share your thoughts about that. You can talk to us, the inner circle of Madrika, my team, but I'm also connecting the Divas That Care because I believe that Madrika's message is going to invite people all over the world who are going to reach out and say, you know, I could use a little magic in my life. Here's something I really need help with. Could someone offer me a moment of support or a bit of guidance? And within the Divas, among us all, we have the answers. We do. It's just a brilliant network of hardworking people. I think that by associating the inner circle with the Divas, we will be able to provide that support. And who knows what could happen. It could be life-saving. It could be life-changing for a child or youth or a parent. Or I feel strongly that that's going to happen. And Candace was kind enough to say, yeah, of course we support that, because like she always does, she just wants to do the right thing for the world. And so I wanted to mention the Divas That Care and the Inner Circle of Madrika are definitely aligned in that mission.
Oh, that is incredible. Oh, thank you so much. I mean, being a part of Divas That Care, all those kind words, I'm like, oh my goodness, yes. I feel the same about Divas That Care and about Candace creating it. It's a magical world. And what it is a community that are working together to help make the world a better place. And that's where the magic starts, is when you start to help one another and be of service to the others. Like it goes back to, we each have that magical gift. And when we start to share it with others, it's amazing whose life you're going to touch and how you can make a difference. When you yourself are thinking, what can I do in this world? I'm just one small person. How can I make a huge change? Where when we all come together and collaborate together as a community, it's amazing the magic that will happen. And I just love this, of being part of that inner circle and you creating it. I totally feel these are life-changing moves for so many people, and maybe even life-saving for people that are down and out and need that magic restored back into their life. Oh, Rosanna, this is incredible. I absolutely love what you are doing through this book and through your talents and the magic that you have inside of you. How beautiful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You know, it's very interesting to me, Joyce, that a lot of what I do, a lot of public speaking, of course, and, you know, just because of my career, it's usually corporate centric, you know, it's business centric. And I realized that in my role, especially talking with executive steercos and decision makers, you know, in these organizations, that one person's perception, you know, one person's dedication to doing the right thing really can make a huge impact. You do have to be like Madrika, though. You have to be driven to do the right thing, and you have to be brave. You have to be ready to speak up, to do the right thing. And in our world, it's very difficult, especially now with all the craziness and horrors that are going on in the world. It's sometimes very difficult to be brave. And that's why I think it's really important when we look at each other and we recognize each other's magic and we band together. Like Margaret Mead said, never underestimate the power of a small group of dedicated people. I really think that this kind of alignment, you know, all looking at what is our journey, what is our destiny, how can we help each other to accomplish what we're meant to do, and also alignment with nature. I want to mention that Madrika draws her power many, many times throughout the story because of her association closely with the power of nature. So it's not a religious thing. It's definitely where she draws her power from her relationship with the trees and wolves, which are her companions, and other animals and the sky. She looks at all of the grandeur and the divinity that she sees around her every day, but rather than walk past it, she's empowered and energized by it. And I think that's something that we as humans, because we are, in quotes, civilized now, we tend to be separated a bit from that energy. And we're kind of robbing ourselves of something that is so incredibly powerful. So, you know, how your grandmother and others, you know, wise elders in our lives often said to us, when you're not feeling great, go for a walk. You know, they used to say that, right? And we ignored them and watched TV or something. But really, I would just like to bring that back, that another lesson, in addition to the powerfulness of personal magic, is also drawing power from the energy that is all around you. It really is something that you need to think about and use. And so one of the reasons I want to do the TED Talk that I mentioned before is that in corporate life, in business life, where we don't talk about any of these things, right? We don't talk about personal magic or power of nature or any of those things. It actually is really valuable to remember that all those people with those fancy titles are basically humans, and humans have power, and they have the ability to draw power in ways that they have forgotten. And so the Madrika story isn't just personal. It's actually on a much higher organizational level. Who knows? Can you imagine how much better governments would behave if they worked that way?
So true. Oh, and I loved how you said of being brave, how true that is. And that just so resonated with me on the draws the power from the nature and the animals, because it's incredible. I live out in the country and I'm with my animals and out in nature majority of the time, and I just love it. I mean, I always say it re-energizes me is what it does. And just getting out and appreciating the trees and even giving the tree a hug, appreciating the birds that are singing to you, and all my animals that are around me, just saying thank you to them. It's amazing what those two little words, because they hear it, they all hear it, and they feel that magic. And it's just magical what nature and animals can give to you. So, oh man, I love that statement too. Totally feel that one.
Yeah, they're all, you know, if you think about it, they are packages of energy. Trees are packages of energy, and every other thing, the grass, the sky, the stars. Madrika realizes that, and she utilizes, channels some of that in what she does to go further, to protect others. Another wonderful thing about Madrika character that just sort of found itself was that she is, if you will, she's sort of a bully killer. She gets between victims and bullies, but she's not violent. So she resolves a lot of issues in the book in a very powerful and productive way, a successful way, but she does it without acting like the bully. You know, she doesn't recreate the bullyism. Instead, she takes another path. And I think, again, in our world, you know, children are growing up in many places where, you know, there could be a school shooting anytime, right? They are watching things on the news. They're hearing their parents talk about them that are horribly violent and shouldn't be part of a kid's life, but they are. And so when they realize that they have a choice every single day, they are one choice away, they are one decision away from who they're going to be, that they need to understand that there are options that are not violent, even though that's what they may see a lot of. But there are options that are not violent. And also Madrika relies on her, you know, wisdom that she got from her family, not necessarily DNA family, like adoptive family, right? And also her thinking, her intelligence delivers her to safety more than anything else. And so as a role model for my girls, I wanted them to understand that they're enough. They have what they needed. And it's an important message for children to understand that as we grow up. I mean, how many women I speak to and men that they truly doubt that. Are they enough? Can they handle what they need to in their life? Yes, they are, and they always were. And maybe Madrika can remind them of that. That's what I'm hoping.
Oh, that is beautiful. And yes, we each are enough. And Madrika sounds like she comes from the heart and not the head, is how she handles things. And that's, to me, that's where it starts, is in your heart. And just, I always say, live from your heart. And my animals have told me that. And, it's just beautiful. The spirits, the angels, yes, live from your heart. So, this has just been incredible, Rosanna. And I knew this show would go so very quickly. And as we start to come to a close of it, I must ask you, would you please return as my guest on Robust Lifestyles so we can continue this story of Madrika and the power of personal magic in life?
I would love to give you updates. Absolutely. Please invite me next available. I am coming back for sure.
Oh, awesome. I love it. I love it. You heard it, listeners. She will be back. And before we close, Madrika, now I'm going to call you Madrika yet, Rosanna. The magic is flowing. Before we close, Rosanna, would you please share with our listeners where they can purchase this book and also how they may connect with you when they hear this show and say, I must have the book and I must connect with Rosanna? Would you please share that information?
Well, first of all, our team is a very big proponent of buy local. So please go to your local bookstore and ask for the book, because you should do that first. Those are your local community people, right? But if they don't have it yet, which they might not, then it is available on Amazon, whatever Amazon you're with. It's all over. It's in the U.S., it's in Canada, it's in the UK, you name it, it's there. So, and it's three forms. There's an ebook for Kindle people. There's a paperback book for those that like a smaller one, and there's also a hardcover. So whatever pleases you as a reader. And then to reach me, there's actually an email set up for me. It's called, and it's all run together like one word, The Story of Madrika at gmail.com. So that is my email as an author, The Story of Madrika at gmail.com. Or if you just want to reach out to me, rosanna.patella@yahoo.com works too. And my phone number, if anybody wants to call me, if you think I can be of service, please do, 250-884-0500. Does that help, Joyce?
Oh, yes, that helps our listeners so much to have multiple ways to reach out to you. And I love how you said, first of all, you like to promote local, to have them go to their local bookstore to locate the book. And then if that falls through, there's Amazon to rely back on. So, I appreciate you so much, Rosanna, for all the powerful golden nuggets you have given us and for this book you have created and the magic that you are bringing into this world and working together with you through Divas That Care. I love every minute of it. So with that, I want to wish you a magical, magical day, and may magic fill your days till we...
You too. I'll be counting on you, Joyce. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and thanks to all of your listeners.
Oh, you are so welcome. And I also want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this magical show with our absolutely incredible diva, Rosanna Patella. Please share this show with your family and friends and check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. And remember some of the golden nuggets she left with us. Recognize the power of recognizing the magic in others. And each one of us has our own personal magic. And be brave. And remember to draw some of that powerful energy from nature and the animals. Oh, how beautiful that is. And I want to wish each one of you a very magical day. And remember, be kind to all. And I also want to, just as a reminder, Candace Gish, the founder of this beautiful Divas That Care network, has created a podcast journal that is just an incredible gift to you or to others to keep track of all these wonderful podcasts that you are listening to and to make notes about how they inspired you so you can remember where they're at and how to share them with others. And you may find this book on Absolute Love Publishing and also through Amazon, and that is Podcast Journal with Candace Gish. And with that, give your animals a great big extra hug and share all your love with them as they so deserve it. And until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.